Hey YouTube, what's going on? Welcome to another video, and today we're actually going to be having a little bit more of an informal conversation, talking about PC specs, talking about streaming, sort of little bits of kit, software, and what it is that I use around my setup, because I get asked a lot in my videos, Stanley, what is it that you use for streaming? What is your current PC setup? What are your specs? Why is it that you've picked what you've picked? So we're going to go through each individual piece today, and we're going to give a little bit of a brief explanation of why I've picked pieces that I've picked for streaming, and how it's all kind of come together in around 2.5 years to lead to this amazing streaming studio and place that I've got right now. So let's roll into the video and let's speak about each individual piece. So firstly, beginning with PC specs. All right, my operating system is of course Windows 10 on the current PC that I'm running right now. For the CPU, which is the computer processing unit, I run an AMD Ryzen 3700X. I was briefly with Intel before this. Before going to AMD, aka Ryzen, I actually was always with Intel. And I was told many years, you should give AMD a try. They're actually cheaper, they're better, especially for streaming because of their multiple cores and multiple threads or whatever it is. I'm not too techie with it, but I know that they're better for generally like multitasking because they have the ability within the CPU and the cards in general to do several things at once easier than Intel do. Intel are known for their sort of concentrated and solid GPUs for like gaming and doing like one separate task at a time. But if you are going to do like streaming, gaming, and have several things running up at the same time, AMD are definitely the way to go. I've made the change from an i7 to a Ryzen 7, and the difference has been absolutely incredible. So highly recommend AMD. I've got the Ryzen 3700X and it's an absolutely beast CPU. Next up, the GPU, we have the GeForce RTX 2070 Super Ventus, and it's by MSI. So before this, I actually had I think it was a 970 GTX, and then I went up to a 1070 Ti. And if you guys have played and streamed the new Call of Duty, you'll know that it's very tough on both CPUs and GPUs, especially if you're trying to stream it at the same time. So I wanted to make sure I had like decent settings and didn't have to worry about lag or issues or screen tear or any problems like that. So I upgraded from a 1070 Ti and went to a 2070 Super, and do not regret it one bit. It is an absolute beast. Ever since doing that, I now encode and stream from my GPU on OBS Studio, which I'll speak a little bit more about in a little bit. And my streams now run more smooth than ever. Just once I get my internet sorted, everything will look exactly as I want it to, and it'll be nice, crisp, no lag, no issues, and no problems. All right, so that is the 2070 Super by MSI. Currently for RAM, I'm running 32 gigs. So previously had 8, then moved to 16, now up to 32 gigabyte of Corsair Vengeance RGB Pro RAM, and it looks absolutely amazing. They're like 4 blocks of RGB. They color, they light, they change. It just looks really, really good. And yeah, from changing from 16 to 32 gig gives me plenty of RAM that I need. 16 gig I still would say is more than enough for most games and most things that you're doing. 8 gigabyte I don't think suffices anymore personally. I think you want to have at least 16 as a minimum, but then 32 is just kind of there as a buffer if you need it for the extra space and just, to kind of future-proof yourself as well. So the next piece we're talking about, the motherboard, is the Asus ROG Strix X570F Gaming. Now, this one is particular for AMD CPU cards. And if you do have an Intel CPU or whatever it is that you're running, do understand that if you do want to change to AMD, you do have to change your motherboard as well. You need a motherboard that does take AMD cards and that are AMD equivalent. From what I know and from what I hear around in the industry, again, I'm not too much of a tech head, and this isn't really so much of a tech video, but I just kind of wanted to explain what I've heard and why I made the changes, is that AMD seem to be slightly cheaper for what for what you get for your money, and seem to respond a lot better for doing several things at once. So it definitely fits my style of, streaming, gaming, playing, everything that I'm doing. And this motherboard is tailored for AMD cards, and that's why it is that I chose that one. It's one of the more slightly expensive ones, but again, I wanted to future-proof myself. I thought if I'm going to make the investment, I'm going to do it properly, and I want to make sure that I've got something, that's going to last me a long time. For the power supply unit, for the PSU, I just run a Corsair 650 watt CX650M semi-modular power supply. I've had this one for years now. If anything, the power supply is one of the only things that I've never changed. It can handle the 2070 Super absolutely fine. I would probably say if you're going to get anything higher than a 2070 Super, you're probably going to want at least a 750 watt power supply, but there are websites where you can cross-check on what power supplies you need for what graphics cards, etc, etc. But this 650 watt holds it all the way up to a 2070 Super more than fine. So I guarantee, if you are thinking about making investments, 650 is a good place to be at. And in regards to storage, I now run 3 different drives on my computer. I have my HD, my hard drive, which is something I've always had, which is a 500 gigabyte, just basic hard drive where I do my junk files, or I dump my OBS recordings into as well. So that's where this video will go, into my OBS recordings, because it takes up a lot of space. I don't want to be putting that on my SSDs because that would just clog up the space and make things run a lot slower. So I put that into my D drive, my HD drive, and just make sure that all my junk files and other bits all go into there in case I need them and need to access them. For my first Samsung SSD, I've got a 250GB 750 Evo, and what I use that for is for OBS Studio and Windows only. So I want to make sure that nothing else is on there. I want OBS to be as fast and responsive as possible, and I want Windows to be able to work as fast as possible without there being issues. Remember, like this, guys, the more you clog up your SSDs with other stuff, games and whatnot, the slower it's going to make all the applications inside it. So that's why I only put OBS Studio on there, Windows in there, everything else goes in the HD drive apart from Call of Duty, which has, believe it or not, its own SSD, because we all know Call of Duty Modern Warfare right now is like 250GB plus. So I run a second Samsung SSD, and this one is an M2 SSD. They're the ones that you actually fit. They look like a chip and they fit into your actual computer themselves. They're the fastest ones I believe that you can get right now. And my Call of Duty, when it was first on a hard drive, would crash all the time, man. I tell you honestly, because that hard drive was jam-packed. It would be so slow to load up, so slow to like shut it down. It would crash, it would have issues. It may even crash mid-game. Since I put it in its own drive as an SSD, it instantly loads up, instantly closes down, no issues. If I ever get kicked out of the game, it's the game's fault, not the SSD's fault. And it's got 500GB of storage in case there's any updates, or in case they drop any new Call of Duty games, you know, I'll delete this one and put the next one on it, all right? In regards to streaming software, I'm only going to talk about this a little bit. I don't want to get into this too much because this is more about specs and stuff. But I currently run OBS Studio, which is the vanilla platform. In my honest opinion, I've used slobs and I used to have nothing but issues with it. OBS Studio is the GOAT. It's the vanilla program and it's really, really good and helpful and easy to run. Just get your own overlays and things done, easy to mesh together. OBS Studio is definitely the way to go. I use Streamlabs for alerts, noises, and other different pieces like that, like the spin the wheel. And I use Stream Elements for its amazing viewer interaction and giveaway systems. Finally, I use shotcool.gg, where I'm a verified partner for viewer games. If you're a streamer who plays with viewers, shotcool.gg does everything that you need in an organized, easy to read format, and you can get your viewers in, out, easy as you need them. And now for streaming specs. So we're actually gonna run this into my other camera so you guys can see this. Welcome to my home. All right, this is something that's been built over 2.5 years. This was not built overnight. You know, I started with a very small desk, one monitor, an Xbox One that was on a towel, a huge keyboard that didn't need to be that big, and barely any space to move my giant Razer mouse that I had back in the day. Now, we've developed and got to this point, and I absolutely am in love with my setup. It took me so long to get here, lots of investment, lots of saving, but it was worth every single penny. All right, so we run through the different monitors and things that I've got. So this is my gaming monitor. Now, this is an Asus 24-inch VG248QE Full HD 144 Hz monitor with 1 millisecond refresh rate. This monitor is so clean, so nice. Like when I'm using it for gaming, it's so crisp, clear, great refresh rate, and I run at 144 FPS in game as well. Right here is my Miscellaneous Monitor, and what I mean by misc is I just have my OBS and my stream up. I'll also have my chat in the bottom corner if I need to read chat as well. And this is a Samsung 24-inch curved monitor, which I can just use for watching other things and using it as a random screen if I need it. Right here is an LG flipped monitor. Now what I mean by that is you can see behind, if you look right behind it, I have 3 clamps. These 2 are on a double and this is on a single from Amazon. And what they do is they fit and clamp onto your desk, and they're monitor mounts. So you just unscrew the back of the monitor, clamp it onto the mount, and it holds it up. So as you can see with my mouse wire right here, I don't have to flick it around, the different monitor stands or whatever that get in the way. All of these monitors are raised, lifted on monitor mounts, and it allows me to flip this screen into a vertical layout, so it's a lot easier to read chat. I can see so much more of my chat on this screen on here. So I have chat in both sides. It's always available for me to read chat, and it's one of the best ways to be interactive with my chat as well. So they're the screens. Right here is where all the production magic happens. So if you're wondering how we're always flipping the screens, see the different things that are coming out, like how we're back once again and go to this screen and then take it back again. That's all done via the Elgato Stream Deck, which is right here. Everything's plugged in, easy to use. It is pretty much a streamer's paradise. The Elgato Stream Deck is absolutely amazing. I highly recommend it for anyone that wants to create any sort of, production on their channel, which probably would be most streamers. In terms of lighting, now lighting is super, super important. Now I don't normally do this on videos, but let me just show you, for example, right? These lights that you can see, let me show you the difference with and without. All right, that makes a big difference on the side, so it gives it a nice vibe and atmosphere. And let me show you what it looks like without this one here. Look at that. And the lighting itself is only on around, I don't know, 10 to 15%, right? So that's a big difference. It's an absolutely incredible difference. And these lightings, you know, have been played around with, messed around with to try and get the perfect lighting situation so that you guys can see my face and the background in the best way with all lights and, you know, at all times, depending on if I'm streaming in the, you know, morning, afternoon, and evening as well. So going back to this screen, these are the Elgato Key Lights. They are expensive, but there is a reason for that you pay the price that you do. They clamp onto your desk, so you don't have to deal with like mounts or anything on the floor. Makes it nice and easy to do that. They're all controllable via mobile phone, via computer, however it is that you want to control them. You can turn the brightness up and down very easily, and you can also change the color theme on them as well. They're so good, and I highly recommend it. All right, after the key lights, you can see right here is my gaming branding surface. Now this was created from Spectre mouse pads, and it's very popular on stream right now. Unfortunately, because of Corona, this mouse pad is currently not for sale because they're not able to do international shipping. Once this whole COVID thing has calmed down, eventually when that happens, these will be for sale. This is a triple XL mouse mat made with great finish. I've spilt G Fuel on it. I've spilt food on it. It just wipes off. There's no remains. You can't see anything. It's absolutely amazing. Highly recommend this company. And when these are for sale, I'll make sure to let you guys know as well. So this is my own custom branded mouse pad. And for the keyboard, I run the Ducky X Acco 60% keyboard with cherry red switches. As you can see it right here, it's a fully RGB LED keyboard. It looks beautiful. 60%, so it removes all the keys around the side that you don't need. If you're an FPS streamer / gamer, I honestly recommend to go 60%. You can't go wrong with this because it removes all of the keys that you don't need. If I was to give you a kind of close-up show on it, you can see it here. Unfortunately, I can only show you it upside down because of the way the cable is, but you can see here, you know, I've changed some of the keys to dark blue to kind of fit my color theme and, you know, do some other bits and pieces as well. But there's no F1, 2, 3, 4. There's no, like, you know, all the number pad on the side. That's all gone because I don't need them. You know, I save space so that when I'm using my mouse, I'm able to, you know, have the most amount of space to move my mouse around my desk and to just give me the biggest advantage possible when playing and streaming on FPS games and such. Okay, now speaking of the mouse, this is the Model D gaming mouse in matte white. I used to own a Model O and that was in glossy black, and I would never own a glossy mouse ever again because you can see fingerprints and all sorts of stuff. So I highly recommend, if you're a palm player like me, and what I mean by palm player is somebody who has their hand all over the mouse, whereas if you're claw and you just use your main two fingers, you may want to go with the Model O because it's slightly smaller. But yeah, this is a great mouse for palm players, and the Model D is the best mouse I've ever had. In fact, it's that good I've actually got a spare one in case anything ever happens with this one. I can't go without it. Right here, you can see my microphone boom arm. This is from Rode. Rode are a great brand, and this is the PSA 1 boom arm. And the best part about this is whatever microphone I decide to use, this is a universal, and it can fit all USB microphones, okay? So whether you go with a Blue Yeti, whether you go with a HyperX, whatever it is that you decide to use, this boom arm that clamps to your table as well, by the way, can completely fit all style of USB microphones. And, you know, me having the HyperX right here, which you can see a lot clearer in the face cam, it looks absolutely beautiful. I love the light red, easy to mute yourself. You just tap the top button, it's great, easy to use, user-friendly, and I just love it so much, all right? And moving on to the cameras, we have, right up there where you're watching me from right now, is the C920 from Logitech. It's a HD camera, and it just sits there, and it's like an over-the-top view in case anybody wants to see my streaming setup like you guys are doing right now. And then this baby right in front of me here, as you can see on a stand, is a Sony Alpha A50-100 camera with mirrorless lens. It's a DSLR camera, very expensive to get all the pieces together, but, you know, look at the video quality from what you can see on a front view. So much better, and they're so clean. And honestly, going from USB microphone to DSLR is a whole different step up in your production, and you won't regret making the investment. And then finally, as you can see behind me, just a crap ton of G Fuel.
Make sure you use code Stallion, by the way, or else there'll be problems.
All right, but you can see it, G Fuel splashed over everywhere. I love their products, love their stuff, and I am partnered with them as well. And that brings us to the end of the video. So this is a different style video, but I feel like it was a very important one as well, because we do get asked and address this a lot. People asking what my specs are. I do run and game off one gaming PC. That they aren't two separate specs. Right now, I only have the one. When I move out, I may get a second one. I'm not entirely sure of that yet, but that is all my specs. That is my gaming and streaming PC. This is my gaming and streaming studio in life. If you guys have got any questions, or you want to, you know, talk to me about any of your specs or anything like that at all, feel free to post them down in the comments. I'm always down to read them as well. If you guys have got any feedback for the video, feel free to post any positive or constructive comment in the comments as well. And if you haven't already, please click that love heart on the subscribe button. It really means a lot to me, and I appreciate the hell out of you guys for all of your support. Look forward to seeing you guys on the next one. Take care, stay safe. Thank you for watching.